High top flip-flops.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 79 of High Top Flip Flops. It's a very special quarantine episode. As always, this is Chris, aka not Chris, aka Bash Me Inside because I don't fight, I just get beat up, aka Lil Poopy Dirt, aka Dr. Do Too Little, aka it's not me, it's not you. We're just going through a tough time right now. And as always, I'm here with Navik.
Hey, it's Navik, aka Navik, aka Mr. Rock, Bonnie Girl, say hello, they're on the way, aka Low Couch, aka Big Couch, aka I'm trying to take a pic. And we're here in a special, different kind of vibe.
Different kind of vibe. Talk to him, man. Talk to him. Explain your vibe to me right now.
Well, I wanted to say this. So when we were prepping to record for this, I was trying to figure out how to get access to the camera, right? To my laptop camera.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't cover it up, like how most people do.
Right.
Because people are watching.
Right.
It's not true. Anyways, I don't know anything about that. But so I tried to figure it out. I went to photo booth. I didn't even know I had it on this computer.
You do.
So the last time I used it was 2018, and I saw a video there.
Oh.
That video stunned me.
Yo, can we add the video to the podcast?
Oh no, it's a very disturbing video.
Why? Is it provocative? Is that a good word to use?
Provocative, yeah. It's oh my goodness, it's dangerous.
Okay, make sure that's
video.
off the.
I need to delete it.
Let's just make sure it's off the cloud, there, brother.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what really stays, what goes. I thought this was deleted, but it was still there.
Whew.
And it was a very 2015 moment.
But I thought you said it was from 2018.
Oh, sorry, I meant 2018, not 15.
There's a big difference. 2018 is only 2 years ago, man.
High top flip-flops.
Let me say something about that video.
Okay.
It is when Krish mentioned photo booth, I was confused at first. Because all I have in my computer are books.
Oh, yeah?
Books on ebook on textbook on textbook.
Oh, yeah, that's so.
And I was confused, and then I went into this app, and then I saw this old video that's technically a piece of art.
That's what?
It's technically a piece of art.
Oh, is that so?
It is, but it's very disturbing to watch, and very cruel for anybody else to see. So I will be deleting it immediately.
Well, full transparency to anyone watching, anyone listening. We tried to record this a week ago. We had some technical difficulties because, you know what? Remote podcasting is hard, at least to kind of get it to the extent in which we want it to quality-wise. We want to have good video quality. We want to maintain audio quality still. So, of course, there are, we could potentially use something like Zoom. We could try like a Google Hangouts. But we wanted to experiment. We wanted to see what was the best way we could deliver this podcast to you folks while we weren't together. And I'm pretty happy with this setup, man. How do you feel about it?
I like it a lot. It's very experimental, kind of like experimental hip hop.
Oh, is that?
This is experimental podcasting.
There's no one out there doing it like this,
Yeah.
We didn't get this idea from anyone else whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. It's new.
Yeah. Okay, but for real though, everyone knows what's going on in the world right now. We're all, for the most part, those of us who are fortunate enough to be working from home or to be self-isolating, quarantining, and not working as a frontline worker, working in healthcare. We're at home, we're making do with our situations. Navik, you're working from home right now. How has that been for you, man? Because you very recently gave me a tour of the bedroom. And you showed me the setup, man. I'm aware that it's a wake up out of bed and get your grind on kind of thing. How are you managing that so far? Because it's been 2-3 weeks now of you working from home.
Yeah, and working from home sounds great. but it's not that great because some people need to see other people.
Yeah.
And they need to interact with other people. And I feel motivated to do work when I'm around people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I'm alone, I feel, why would I want to do actual work when I could watch the 2019 film yesterday?
Oh, did you actually watch that?
You know what? It's taking me a long time to watch movies because I'm gonna be honest. What I'm doing, this is gonna sound like a lie, but I'm actually studying
Oh,
right now.
what are you studying for?
I'm studying for this exam I'm taking in June.
No way. What
Yeah,
exam are you taking?
It's a certification for this CRM, this website.
Shit.
And I gotta do it to try to get a bigger bag and be in a different place.
Getting your bars up, man. Hey, way to go, man. I'm going to put in a clap track right here.
But the thing is, I'm trying to do that, but I'm also trying to watch movies and TV shows, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like 30 minutes into yesterday,
Okay.
right? And it's pretty good. It's fun, you know. Brown Lee.
Right. right.
Right,
Does that guy look like the bastard from The Big Bang Theory, or is that just me? Am I just a racist piece of shit?
No, he actually does.
He does look like him, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, almost like him. Yeah.
Fair enough, man. You know what? Yeah, I was like on the fence about that movie, but let me know. Maybe in the next episode you can give us a full breakdown of what you thought of the movie, and yeah, you can let us know if we should watch it too. Because I feel like it didn't get a lot of buzz, or am I mistaken in thinking that?
I feel like it got a little bit because I heard about it. Like I probably saw a trailer,
Right.
And then it faded quick. Like it was for like a few days, and then the British film just went. Maybe it was bigger in the UK. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder too. That's a good point, actually. I didn't even think about whether or not it might have been bigger in the UK. But true, man. That's wild, though. I didn't know you were studying for the course. Is it weird to be back in that space of like soaking up information in that way, and kind of going back to maybe what you were doing a few years ago when you were still in school?
I was just telling somebody it's so hard to study. If especially now, like with the incredible amount of distractions.
Right.
How do people really focus? And back then, I mean, everything was still popping, like Netflix, Spotify was still around and all that, but I wasn't abusing it like how I am now.
Right.
I'm living off it now. Back then I was still free.
Right.
And
right.
yeah, adjusting to doing that, sitting down for the purpose of, not doing something fun. And usually fun includes editing the podcast, because that's
For
still
sure.
kind of fun,
For sure.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Very good question that you brought up there, because that's something people don't really think about, adjusting back to studying.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, with the addition of like being exclusively at home, like it's not like you're going to lectures. It's not like you're in the library or like you're doing any studying with friends either, right? Some additional challenges. On that note, though, like how has it been for you, like being in the same place? Like obviously, off camera you mentioned to me you started that Uber Eats grind as well, which I want to talk about, and obviously you're still like going running just to like get out of the house, get your exercise up as well. Has it been tough to like be in the same household with the same people all day?
Yes. No. Yeah, they're the worst. Absolutely terrible. I hate it. No, so the thing is, I'm used to this because there was a portion of last year, the top of last year, where I was doing nothing. I was just chilling every day.
Right.
Literally, I was at home, 8 to 10 hours of the day at least. So this wasn't totally new to me. I am glad that I'm able to, focus on something for most of the day, which is, kind of a blessing.
Totally.
Lucky. I'm pretty lucky. Because I was like thinking, oh man, I'm doing this with, Tingless. I feel so bad for me, but in actuality, I'm so blessed, you know, so lucky, you know.
Right.
Um, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I need to really take that in because before I would, you know, I might shit on something, maybe like my job or whatever, but I do realize where I am,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and luckily where I am has put me in a good position to be okay, possibly. For the
Yeah,
remainder of the
yeah,
year,
yeah.
and you know, that that's look at that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a very good point. I do want to ask you. I do want to ask you on that note, though. Have you at all not experimented? Yeah, have you at all like tried the Zoom date since quarantine started? Is that something that you've given a try to?
Hmm. This is a good question, Chris.
I mean, it's a yes or no question, you know?
See, you have to understand something, Chris.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
When you ask these questions, you have to understand the weight that the question holds. You know, it's like it's a very tough question
Okay.
to answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no. I haven't done a single one,
Oh yeah. Okay.
but I can imagine, you know, if someone were to do it,
Mm-hmm.
it would be fairly fun. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
Hopefully, you know.
Oh.
It's just if it's a strong connection internet wise,
Not
it'll deliver to like an actual connection.
right, right, right. It begins and ends with your dial-up. You know, your dial-up speed.
Hey, can I say something to that, James?
Please.
Hey, my hit up my hit up my guy Sanji real quick. That guy is really he's a doctor.
Is he a
So
eye,
hit him
is
up
he a
real
is he
quick.
an eye doctor specifically?
He's an eye doctor, but I always tell him to just say doctor period.
Oh,
You know,
true. Okay.
'cause don't focus. Don't give him like a what you
I see.
focus on.
I see.
Just
I
give
see.
him
I
a
see.
broad
Okay.
situation.
Right.
But I can say yeah, from those people that have gone on those Zoom dates or
Uh huh.
are dating right now, it is very tough, I imagine, because you know you're trapped for the next and 2 months, end of May.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe end of January of
Oh,
2021. Who knows?
and that is very tough. You know, we're gonna really have to focus on yourself,
Ooh, man.
and
Yeah.
and by focus on yourself, I mean really learn to be okay with yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna be alone for this long run, and that's not an easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how are you feeling generally these days, these past few weeks?
How have I felt? That's a good question. Yeah, it's definitely been up and down. I think like what you said is like definitely a challenge for me, right? Getting more comfortable with myself. I'm very fortunate. I'm still in the presence of family. Did like haven't been shuffling around a lot, but I moved out of my family home just to stay with my aunt to make some room for my grandfather. Hence the foreign background in my video here. But like I can also imagine that like I mean sorry, I can't imagine how I would be feeling if I was like in a place exclusive like on my own. That's like a challenge that I think about for a lot of people being like extremely challenging, um, and yeah, oftentimes they're kind of like the people that I know of that like I think about who like maybe don't have strong support systems or might be struggling on their own, like that's have a lot of like compassion for them,
Mm-hmm.
not to say that everyone who's on their own is struggling, but in the same vein, right? I'm sure there are a lot of people who are. So yeah, you're right, it's a major challenge, and like especially thinking about if you're on your own and you have to go get your groceries, or like you have like a dog to walk, or something, right? Like you can't I mean you don't have the money to like pay for like delivered groceries. That's like that can make staying indoors and keeping yourself safe really tough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, similar to you, like feeling thankful for that. It has been challenging. There are many challenges that kind of come with it. But yeah, yeah. I feel like I jokingly said this to you last time. Like, uh, I the fact that like all the, I mean, understandably, I'm not gonna say that it's outrageous, but knowing that all the basketball hoops, across the city are being tarped up, for you and I to like not get our shots up, it's detrimental. It's detrimental to our budding basketball careers.
Oh, just take it in. The last time we hooped could be the last time we hooped forever.
That's right. That's
We
right.
never hoop again.
That's right. We may never hoop again. You know what though? I will say, given that the last time I hooped, I got to play with you. That's a privilege right there, man.
Wow, man.
Let me put that out there.
I don't think we played at the same time.
No, we did, man. We did. You assisted one of my buckets, man.
Oh, I forgot the 3 minutes we each played overlapped.
That's
At one
right.
point.
That's right. So for those who don't know, Navik and I played in a men's league together for the first time. Well, Navik had played in it before, but it was my first time ever playing in a men's league, and Navik was kind enough to have me out. And man, we played a total of 4 games pre-quarantine. But listen, they're 3 or 4 best times of my life. Let me just say that.
Oh,
Uh,
damn. Entire life?
the whole 25 years of my life, yeah, absolutely. All 4 of those days, every Tuesday night, in the month of February and March, were impeccable. Let me tell you. But yeah, no, on a serious note, definitely, feeling those challenges. But happy that we can even still do this. This is definitely like an outlet. And if we can find a way to try and conduct some interviews like this too, that'd be dope. So figuring it out, man, because like you said, who knows how long this will be going for, right? We kind of do have to prepare for the long haul a little bit.
Yeah.
But we pardon me.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just gonna say about the bad news. Like, as we all know, this is, a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when bad news hits on top of it, our young god, Bernie.
Oh wow, yeah,
That was
that's right.
heartbreaking.
That's right. That's right.
And on top of that, Tory Lane's album drops the next 2 days. Like, how much can we take as a people? What more can we take?
What more can we take? Yeah,
I was
seriously.
already heartbroken because of the quarantine. Then Bernie leaves, and I was just like, oh. And then Lane's drops.
And then
it's
Tory
like,
dropped.
bro,
He's like
Shout's the king.
he's like yeah, he's like the stepdad who you haven't given like full approval to yet, and then like he heard you talk about like some toy that you wanted, and it's your birthday, and he's like, yo, you know what, like, this is birthday, maybe not all your friends made it to your birthday parties, are feeling a bit down, so he's like, oh, I know how I'm gonna make it up to him, this is how I'm gonna get his approval, I'm gonna go get this toy. He goes to the store, and then he gets the knockoff version of the toy, and he brings it to the kid, and he ruins his birthday even more, even though he thought he was going to make it a good day. That's the Tory Lane's equivalent with this mixtape. That's the reach I'm going to make.
Yeah, oh, jeez.
He tried. He was like, oh, everything's going to shit. I know how I'm going to make it better. Let me put out this music. And then he put it on. Everyone was like, oh, what the hell, man?
Everyone's like, what the?
Go away.
That's good. Get out of here.
Get out of
Get
here,
out of
Tory.
We're done.
Get out of my room.
Get out of my house.
Get out of my house. But yeah, man, no, I was having this conversation earlier. Like I don't know. It's really hard for me to put myself in the shoes of anyone who's American. But like thinking about the way their system is set up too, like if you were in the States right now, given like, yeah, sorry, I won't even provide context. Given like the situation, which is now the 2 candidates are Joe Biden and Donald Trump, like given the like the consequences of like Donald Trump winning, given the consequences of Joe Biden winning, and then and like realizing what kind of happens next. Do you still would you still feel compelled to vote at all, or do you just do you think you would abstain from voting just because you don't feel like you're supported or like you're accounted for by either like leader or either party?
See, a lot of us are so mad at the situation with Bernie that I don't have a say whatsoever, anyways, right? Because I'm not even American.
Yeah, likewise, we're not there. It's true.
Yeah, but if I was, I'm seeing a lot of backlash. Like a lot of people saying, "Oh, we definitely don't endorse Biden.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have anything to do with him." And then at the same time, you don't want children to be in cages for the next 10 years. You want ICE to exist.
Yeah.
For what? Yeah, literally obviously 4 years, but it
Mm-hmm.
could go on, depending on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all that, people are probably gonna go and obviously vote for Biden, most likely. And it's probably the way to go. Ultimately.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. I don't know how people are gonna make do either, but I imagine, or actually I don't know. I really don't know either, but I think about it often, and I think either one is kind of valid, to kind of abstain from voting. I guess it is strategic at the end of the day, right? Even if they're not who you want, it's kind of like the lesser of evils. I guess that's how it's spoken of. But yeah, anyone who's down in America listening to this right now, I'd love to hear your takes. Love to know how you're feeling, given the situation. But one thing I know for sure is I haven't listened to that Tory mixtape, nor do I plan on doing so. But yeah, definitely feeling for people in the States. I mean, just the way all of this is being handled in the States as well. Not to say that it's being handled to say it's being handled like exponentially better up here, but yeah, the virus has not been handled very, very well down there, which is definitely spooky. But in hopes of trying to instill some kind of light, Vivek and I decided to gather some questions from our beloved Instagram followers who are willing to ask us questions related to ourselves, related to the show, related to a whole whack of stuff. So Nivek and I'm just going to run through a bunch of them, and we're going to try and answer them to the best of your ability, to the best of our abilities. So let's start off with one from a good friend of yours, Janish, who says, "I think COVID-19 is a conspiracy. Do you think it's a possibility?" To you, I say, what the fuck? I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm sure it's a joke, but Nivek, how would you answer that question?
See, the thing is, last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a prepared response where I do an impression of Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh my God.
Right, and I would then praise Janish and tell him to continue to open his third eye.
Right.
But the thing is, I actually know people who know people who are affected by this disease, and it's become so real.
Yep.
That, I can't even roast it.
That's right. That's right. It's like, it hits way too close to home. Agreed.
I know that did hit someone very young. That a friend knows, and I was just shocked.
Man.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say about the virus. I mean, look, we gotta have some humor.
For sure.
Right? We have to, obviously in these dark times, we need some source of humor.
Mm-hmm.
So Janish is obviously trying to find that. I know when I see him, it's always that Umar energy.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
It's alien theorems.
Right.
But legit ones. Not those. People used to say aliens like years ago. It was mad corny.
Right.
Now it's cool again. So,
It's cool again. Okay, sick. Oh my
so
god.
that's all I gotta say. But salute to Janice. She's been supporting for a minute. You know, that's salute to me. They've been helping me out. Yeah.
Oh really?
Whenever I ask for like a technical issue,
Oh yeah.
you know, with design or whatever, I always hit him and he hits me back immediately.
Oh, is Janisha
Um,
a designer?
Oh, he's a coder, designer.
Conspiracy
stuff,
theorist
you know,
extraordinaire.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fact.
Brilliant. Well, hey, thanks for the question, Janish. We got a question from our good friend Muket Mooks. First question: will you marry me? My answer is yes. What's yours, Navek?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yo, imagine this guy got down on one knee and was like, Navek, will you marry me? And your response was, hmm.
I mean, you know what? Look, I do have to be clear. Like, I'm never proposing to someone. I'm gonna get proposed to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, off the strength of him proposing to me, I gotta say yes.
Okay.
Just off the strength.
Off the strength. Fair enough. It just came too correct. That's fair. So Mooks asked another question. I guess it's like a multiple parter. But I'll ask you this question. What got you interested into making this podcast?
Oh, okay. You know what? When my lips first touched the mic on episode 1, and I was just talking that shit, you know, I was just talking my thoughts, raw thoughts onto the raw mic.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt joy. You know, I felt like I was getting something off of me.
Okay.
You know, and I like that feeling of removing stuff off of me
Mm.
and feeling a little lighter. And
Totally.
that's how this podcast made me feel.
Yeah, fair enough, man. It was an outlet. Is that fair to say?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, man. I hear you on that. Another question Mooks asks, what makes or how do you decide who to have on the show? You know what? Simply put, it's less so about actually no, I was jokingly gonna say it's less so about who we decide to have on and more so about who's willing to say yes. But it's a bit of both, because I think we start the year with like a bit of a wish list, and usually it's just people that we admire or like, you know, kind of like simply put, like maybe dream about interviewing or like, you know, have at least like a couple questions in mind that we would love to ask them. And I think we also try and do our best to think about who we're talking to, and think about what kind of voices, voices or experiences maybe that we have on that potentially get similar or, you know, come from similar lived experiences, because we want to do our best to think about, think about trying to get on or think about having like a truly quote unquote diverse range of voices, you know? Like something that oftentimes happens with Navek and I is like, it can be really easy for us to just like one after another, like talk to like a straight dude, a straight like cisgender dude, like who we become friends with or we've connected with over the internet because they do something neat. Is that to say that like, you know, there aren't a ton of other cisgendered men who we'd like to speak to? Like, no, of course not. But we also do think about like how or in what ways that like those narratives or that experience can potentially get, I don't want to use the word played out, but we can start to see like similarities too, right? Where while it might be comfortable for us and it might be easy for us to make those connections, we want to think about like who's even listening to our podcast. We have a lot of different people from a lot of different like, you know, intersections of identities that listen to our show, and we want to make sure that we're doing our best to cater to them as well in some ways. So I think constantly kind of thinking about that, thinking about what voices we are able to give platforms to, who are like comfortable even talking to us. Because I think simply put, you know, at the end of the day, we could bring anyone on here and it would be great to learn about them and their story, you know? But doing our best to make sure that we have a wide range and that we're doing our best to, especially to uplift voices that maybe don't regularly get the chance based on systemic barriers. to have a voice and to learn more about them. So yeah, I'd say that's how we kind of go about who to have on the show. We think about the types of voices or the different types of voices we've had on, maybe in succession or over the course of time, and do our best to connect with people and make genuine connections with people who maybe come from a certain experience or a background that we've not necessarily sat down with before. Is there anything you'd add to that answer?
Oh, jeez, you got everything. That's exactly.
Went off on a little essay there.
Yeah.
And then last question from Mooks: how do you prepare for the show? How do you prepare for the show, Nivek?
How I do this, I have a very specific process. I learn about the person,
Mm-hmm.
for the guest from Chris. Chris tells me the guest is, and I like to go to the person's home where they grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to learn a bit about how they grew up. So I'll knock on where they used to live. I'll walk into the house, lie down on the couch, watch an episode of a television show, and then I will get back in my car, then go straight to the interview. And that's it. And then I knock it out. Go home, have a nice dinner, and go to sleep.
That's right. Do you go back to their house for the dinner as well, or?
No, I never see them again, never interact with them. Ever again, I just go straight on.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
But, so what happens is Krish does so much research on this person. He doesn't know he really does his non-war.
I try to, man.
And I like to deliver raw thoughts. Raw thoughts is what I'll call it. And how I prepare for those raw thoughts is I live life.
You just live in the moment.
I live. And that's the thing that quarantine prevents me from doing. I can't live as much, right?
That's true.
And whenever I'm outside, I'm always living in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I figure out a way to live.
Yep.
And that life experience prepares me for this podcast.
Yeah, fair enough, man. It certainly does. Let me tell you. And I think I will say from the feedback we get too, I think people really like the balance that we have, where I might do the research and kind of like try and come up with a flow for the interview, and you really like you bring the like the spontaneity, because I think every episode is like it's definitely something that gets brought, and I think it can like bring a change in like pace to the show, which is great, because sometimes you need that, it's like a little refresher, like a little spritz of some lemon water to the face, just really add some energy. So yeah, man, I say stick to your routine, keep the B and E's up, keep the breaking and enterings up, and yeah, man, we'll be on our way. All right, another question here from Stop Boosting. Shout out to Ahmed and Kanatashan, sponsors of the microphone for this episode. Because the microphone just happened to be at Nivek's house, already very clean and sanitized, and no one moved to get it. But thank you for the microphone, regardless.
Yeah, I had it before the quarantine.
That's right. But it was owned by Kanatashan from the start. But anyways, question for Stop Boosting. Who are the Spank Bros? Who are the Spank Bros, Nivek?
That's us, baby.
That's us, man.
Us spanking each other on the court.
That's right. There are great NBA duos over the course of time. Scottie Pippen and MJ. There's Kevin Durant and Russ Westbrook. There's DeMar and Kyle. There's Clay and Steph Curry. And then there's Nivek and I. And we're not splashing threes. We're not like Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol just like pounded down low. But we're spanking each other's asses. That's for sure.
We're not J.R. Smith and Hennessy.
We're not J.R. Smith and Hennessy. Exactly. Exactly. We're not. No, I can't think of another one. But yeah, you know what? We don't score buckets, but we're really great at motivating each other, and that comes by way of just a little tap to the buttocks. That keeps the energy up. Keeps me going. Sometimes I just need Nivek to play me like a pair of bongo drums, and And I wouldn't have scored as many points in my last game. FY, I was 5. I scored 5 points.
You
Uh,
two dunks, right?
what's that?
You dunked twice.
I dunked twice and I got 5 points somehow. One of my dunks was a
Yeah.
3-pointer.
No, Chris. Obviously, you dunked twice and you got fouled.
Oh,
Second dunk.
right. It was
You
a
got
and
one of your
one.
2 shots in.
Right.
Come on, Magic. We're thinking spank plays here.
No, man, I jumped
That's
from the 3-point line on some Space Jam shit, and I scored a dunk.
that's a classic spank bros play.
That's right there.
Just
Yeah,
drive into the hoop and getting injured on the way,
that's right. That's right.
fouling out all the way up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a question from our a longtime listener, Branavi. She asks, if you could have done one last thing before quarantine hit, what would it be? We both agreed on this one. What the last thing would be? Do you remember what it was when we last spoke?
Not at all.
It was touch. So it would be to like really like savor that hug with like with the last person that you saw, or like even like hug a person that like you wouldn't regularly hug. Maybe you just give them like a handshake or a dap and keep it moving. But like, yeah, really like it would be touch. It would be like really savor the experience of touch. Because yeah, that's like ultimately something that we all end up really missing out on, or are missing, But yeah, that was what we said a week ago. I'd say it's the same thing for me. What would you say, Navik?
No, touch is definitely a strong one. Other than obviously, I mean, the obvious is hanging out with people, eating.
Mhm.
Man, eating pasta at a restaurant.
Ooh, what was your favorite restaurant to eat pasta at?
Oh, see, for pasta, I went to mad different restaurants. I never
Okay.
even picked a solid pasta restaurant. Like dumplings, I got a spot.
Mm,
Mediterranean food is a spot.
right.
But for pasta, I love to explore.
Mm,
It could be even something as simple as there's a spot on Warden. I'm trying to remember the name of.
for pasta.
Pasta for the Low. It's an Italian spot.
Wild.
It's pretty decent, It's so I just want to sit at that table and ask for some extra cheese on my linguine.
Yeah, man. Just have this racist server just pull up on you,
Yeah.
not look you in the eye, man. Yeah, I miss that too. I really
miss
miss
that
that.
too.
Yeah, I miss that heavy. But fair. Yeah, definitely being able to eat out or experiencing dining out as well, I think would be on that list for me. This one was a tough one. Let's try and answer it with one each. What this one was asked by a friend of mine, Hasib. What is your favorite ending to a movie or a TV series?
Damn.
I'm gonna say my favorite ending to a movie was this movie called Prisoners. Yeah, the way it like wrapped up, I really enjoyed it. That was a really good movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman and Paul Dano, along with a few other actors and actresses. But yeah, that's the one for me. That's the first one that comes to mind. How about you?
Oh, we're keeping this to one, right?
Yeah, if you can think of one.
I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna say Community.
Oh wow, that's interesting too, because there's always this like feeling of like, oh, there's the 6 seasons in a movie. It never is supposed to feel like it's over because it technically hasn't fulfilled, the time span it was supposed to. But how did that series end? Because they also did like a season on Netflix, didn't they?
Yahoo Screen, which
Oh,
was another. I don't know if it exists anymore, but now
Oh.
it's all on Netflix anymore, and all of it's now on Netflix, right?
okay.
But a lot of people say that it should have ended after the 4th season, after Donald Glover left.
Yeah.
And you know what? They had to do the 6, and obviously the last 2 aren't as strong as the first 3 to 4, depending on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But still, a solid send off.
Okay.
And the jokes, like, they just hit so hard.
Yeah.
Like 9 years later, I go back to it. And it
True.
Still goes.
Yeah, those 4 seasons of Donald Glover were phenomenal. Were really special. I struggled to get into it after he left. Not to say that like he really to some degree he did make it, but also just the writing in general was really well done in those 4 seasons. But yeah, true. I would love for Community with Donald Glover again. But yeah, good answer. Good answer. This one's from our friend Gary. Gary says, "Is the IG Live Fit Battle gonna happen or no?" So, do you want to explain to anyone who's listening what Gary's talking about here?
So we've all been hearing about the live producer battles.
That's right.
Or songwriter battles, where each artist would play, or songwriter or producer would play 20 of their best songs.
That's right.
And see who wins. And I wanted to do a live fit battle, maybe 5 fits each. Me versus Krish. And it's kind of unfair because, Krish is obviously the source of fits.
That's not true.
I looked to Krish first to switch up the swag.
Shut the hell up.
So... But I wanted him to also display what he has so that people can really know. This is the guy behind the mic.
Shut up. Listen, man, all I'll say is I had to forfeit because, seeing that I'm not at home, not living at home, I'm working with limited wardrobe here. I couldn't stun on the bake like that, so I had to have to postpone the battle. But let's just say maybe, when I eventually get back home, maybe we can make it happen. But it's a hard maybe for now because as of right now, I'm taking an L in this fit battle. But also not true, man. Not true about because I don't even know. I don't know what my sense of style is, man. I'm sure I just copied off of Jonah Hill or something like that. I'm kidding. But this is random. But you know how earlier you were saying when you read Janisha's question how you wanted to do an interpretation of Dr. Umar Johnson? I was gonna ask, instead of doing an interpretation of him, have you seen this kid on Twitter who's suddenly he's gained some attention by way of some video he posted on TikTok. He's this young brown this Indian kid who's talking about why you should vote for Joe Biden, and basically he's getting roasted because his story is kind of trippy. Basically he made headlines for writing for applying to a bunch of Ivy League schools in the States, and his essay, his entrance essay, he just wrote Black Lives Matter 100 times.
That's that kid?
Yeah. Have you seen the video that I'm talking about?
I didn't see the video, I just heard about it.
Yeah, so it's the same kid, and everyone's just yo, this kid is just the child of a former banking executive, and it was essentially ridden off of their his parents' connections and things like that, and how it's just it's so easy for him to make the statement that he's making. But all of that aside, I mean, while that's the important stuff, the joke that people are making is the way he delivers things, the way he speaks. He uses his hands a lot, and he's very clearly dramatic about it. And people just started calling him wannabe Hassan Minaj. And it's the funniest thing. All I could say is the next episode, if you can lock in an impersonation of him, that would be sensational. Because I think the floppers really need to hear that. But back to the questions here. What is your favorite recipe right now? Seeing that you're at home a lot more, and you're eating at home.
So I'm gonna tell the truth. My mother has been making me food. And to be honest, I only really make tea, cereal. You know, stuff where it involves two ingredients.
Right.
I can kill that.
You make a
So-
mean cereal, man. Let me tell you.
French toast. I got the sickest recipe for French toast crunch. You get the French toast. You pour in some 2% milk.
Wow, 2%. Okay,
And then
okay.
just let it sit for like 4 seconds, and then eat it.
Man, if you're ever on a date and someone asks you what food you can make, you should 100% just say French toast, and just like a really long pause, and just kind of very quietly say crunch, and see how you fare. Cause yeah, man, that could be a real hit. Let me tell you. But fair enough, man. I mean, you know, you are living at home. Have you ever like made food with your mom? Have you ever helped your mom cook? Or do you have an interest in it, I should ask?
She actually taught me how to make cup roti,
Oh, no way.
so I can do that a little bit.
Shit, that's pretty sick.
Some pastas here and there.
Okay. When was the last time you cooked a meal? If I'm not putting you on blast by asking you that.
You're really challenging me this.
I'm so
episode.
sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
First, she asked that wild ass Zoom question, and then this, because Krish, I'm gonna have to tell you something.
Go ahead.
Okay, like people have expectations of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so low. I'm trying to bring it up, you know? I'm trying to make it go up a little, but every time you ask this question, like, Vivek, can you cook? Have you not gone to any car accidents? Stuff like that.
All right.
These people are watching, it brings it down.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So, like, did I ever cook? And I have to tell the truth. So I can't lie.
Right.
And the last time I cooked, April of 2017.
Okay.
Possibly. Oh my god. It was really like April, late 2018, early 2019,
Okay.
which is very sad.
Hey.
And
That's okay.
it's my truth though.
That's your truth. That's right. And listen, man, you know what? I appreciate you telling me that. I'm not trying to get your, this is like the episode of Black Mirror, you know, where you get like points based on like your like all the things that you have in life versus you don't have in life, and it's like you ever watch the episode of Black Mirror?
Oh yeah, it was a good episode.
Scary episode, man. But hey, listen, man, I hear you loud and clear. I'm not gonna put you on blast anymore.
It's hilarious. It's I have some things to say, but yeah, we'll continue.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. What else have we been asked here? Okay. Here's a deeper question asked by our dear friend Shankari. Is your morality dictated by fear of punishment? This is a great question. That the last time I read, I butchered it. But yes, is your morality, so, you know, is your the way you decide what's right or wrong? Is it decided by fear of punishment? What do you think, Vivek?
You know, in a way, it is, and in a way, it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I obviously know, like, I'm not gonna make this decision to fight this person or scream at this person because I automatically know the result, and it's not the punishment that kind of controls me in that situation. However, let's say there's a situation where I hit someone's car with my car in an empty parking lot, no one's there.
Right.
My fear of me getting caught and paying this person a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
is what's driving me to. Is what's driving my morality.
Right.
You know how to properly react in that situation.
Right.
Whereas I'm a bit smarter in situations with certain people.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So that's
see what you're saying.
Interesting question.
Yeah, man. It's a great question. I've been thinking about it ever since it was sent. Yeah, I think about like I think to some degree it's dictated by fear of punishment, but I guess when I think of the word morality, like I think beyond maybe like my day-to-day decision making. I think about like universal, like what is right or what is wrong, which is maybe like a productive or unproductive way of looking at it. I'm not sure. But I guess what I would say is that maybe it's not a fear of like my own punishment, but a fear of like punishment in general. And when I say punishment, like I don't necessarily mean like someone just being hit on the wrist, but maybe someone being like persecuted, or not even an individual, but groups of people. Um, I guess more often than not, like marginalized groups of people. So when I think about what's right or wrong, I think about how, yeah, the people who, in the way that the world is set up, have the least amount of power, and how they get affected by a decision made by me as someone who, in the grand scheme of things, has a great amount of power based on my economic standing, based on my education, my access to the English language, my citizenship, the fact that I'm a cisgendered man, I'm heterosexual, like all of these things really add up. So when I think about it that way, I think that's like something that also drives my morality. Is just like, yeah, how do my decisions, or like how do my kind of like beliefs in what I think is right or what I think is wrong, then like impact those who don't get to really choose the same way I get to choose, So yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a fear there necessarily, but more so like a fear of how my consequences are going to impact someone else. So by way, maybe it is a fear of punishment, but I don't know. I would say that's the way I kind of see it right now, but hopefully I've answered the question. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a great question, Chunkry. Thank you. We're going to wrap it up here with a couple quick ones, or one quick one, and then we'll wrap it up with another great one asked here. But very quickly, what is a YouTube rabbit hole that you've gone down, specifically during quarantine? Because we've talked about this before. We're YouTube fiends, We're out here on YouTube all the time. So there are lots of rabbit holes that I'm constantly on, and I'm sure it's the same for Univig, whether it's like interviews or like for me, it's like food-based stuff. I'm always watching sports stuff too. But yeah, is there any specific rabbit hole you've gone down since quarantine started?
Yeah, there's a few actually.
Okay.
So one is roast videos.
Oh yeah, the All Def
And-
Digital.
Yeah, and some of it's there's this podcast based in LA called Kill Tony.
Okay.
It's a guy that brings on a comedian, a bunch of different comedians, and they do about a minute. They're new comedians. They're
True.
like beginners, right? They do 1 minute, and then they kind of talk to him, and there might be some roasting if there's some good chemistry between him and the comic, right?
That's cool.
And this guy David Lucas, who's like been killing it, and then he roasts Tony a lot, and Tony roasts him, and they become like very good at it.
Right.
And I watch a lot of those videos. I watch a lot of those videos where there's two people. It's that series where there's two people and then they ask each other questions.
Is it
The
Jezebel? Is it that?
cut,
Is it
the cut?
The Cut? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of cut videos. I'm gonna be honest. 17 has a series called My Best Friends Find Me a Bae.
I'm looking this up right now.
And it's funny to watch like a happy situation. I like watching people be kind of happy,
True.
and it's just fun.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Maybe I'll give this a watch. Thank you for suggesting that. Because yeah, I'm I'm very far removed from that side of YouTube.
Honestly, it's really not something I'd recommend to a lot of people. It's something that just appeals to me for some reason.
Fair enough, man. That's okay, and that's you. And there's no judgment for it. So you do you, man. I think all my wormholes have stayed the same for the most part. I feel like if anything, I've started to give like some vlogs more of a chance, and maybe I say maybe that's due to the fact that like they also reflect some kind of like, they reflect people just like out and about and like interacting with other people, and maybe I'm like living vicariously through that. I'm not sure. But I would say like Jimmy Butler, the basketball player. I've recently started watching his vlogs. I feel like I've been trying to learn more about him as as like an individual and as a player, and the relationships he has, because he has a bit of like an image as like being like a villain, or like a quote unquote like a cancer to locker rooms, which I'm always kind of curious to learn about those players. Polarizing players, I suppose. But yeah, that's about it for me. I don't think I've done anything out of the ordinary. Um, yeah, that was a question asked by our friend Carolyn. Okay, last question here, and this one was asked by our dear pal Gao. While on the topic of Gao, him and Madisha are still pumping out episodes of Dash the Curry. They're season 2. They've already got a few episodes out now. Please go give it a listen. Go check them out. They do phenomenal work. They put a lot of hard work into their episodes as well. The production is phenomenal. Go check them out on all your favorite streaming platforms. A question from Gao says, can someone listen to the Joe Budden podcast and not be toxic? So do you wanna give like the 10 words or less description of the Joe Budden podcast and who he is and what the show's about?
Alright, so Joe Budden, a former rapper, now hosts a show on Revolt, also does this podcast for the last 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 3 or 4 years, he's had his friend Rory, other friend Maul, and engineer Parks on it. And they just talk about music, current events, and they make jokes about certain things. And sometimes it can be very funny. And it's definitely number 1 on Spotify.
Right
now, Spotify podcast, which is very wild.
It is pretty wild.
And like odd. And in terms of toxicity, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's toxic.
Okay.
And I think toxic is just such a overused like word. Right? It's just been used too much to describe every little thing. I can't say everything is toxic, because I understand where they're coming from when they make these jokes, right? Because they obviously don't mean it, and they preface it with, this is clearly a joke. You know, we're not, obviously we don't aim to offend here. And I can understand how some of them can get heavy, but it's not like I haven't heard something of that heaviness before by like a regular comedian that's praised.
Right.
You know? So that's how I view that pod.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, a challenging one. I guess I don't listen. I don't listen to it to really be able to say. But I know that sometimes, yeah, it can get like, I think in maybe the 1 or 2 times that I've listened, I did find it like maybe a bit uncomfortable, because I was just like, oh shoot, like it can sometimes be hard to draw that line between a joke and like where like something else, like some other motivations that might be like what's the word, motivating what they have to say. And I think that more so comes from like experiencing that outside of the podcast, right? Which can always be concerning, because it's like, oh, when you hear it from someone who doesn't have like a platform, yeah, it makes you wonder like what informs that like thought, and to what extent does it then manifest in like their day-to-day thoughts or behaviors or actions. Because sometimes all it takes is for someone like a comedian or someone very jokingly to say something that could be harmful to a certain person or a group, and then all it takes is for like, you know, someone to just like really sit with that and maybe not be critical, or not be like, not choose to combat or disagree with what the person has to say, to then like allow for those thoughts to build, you know. So it is a challenging one, you know, and I would say like you do have to draw good lines. You have to think really hard, you know. If like, I would say very simply put, is like, if you're listening to something and you think to yourself, oh, this might be like a little dangerous, like be firm in like, you know, believing what you believe. And I think that's like the starting point, and constantly be thinking about that, right? Is like, if you're going to laugh at something, like think about why you're laughing at it, or what parts you find funny, or maybe what parts you can identify as like being harmful, right? Because I think it can be hard, particularly in a place of isolation, to maybe like rid yourself of something like the Joe Budden podcast, where you maybe listened to it for a really long time and are at a point now where you're like, oh shit, maybe these guys are not saying like the sweetest things. So yeah, I would just say be careful. Be careful, make good decisions. Think about how something you might be listening to that you might find funny is potentially harmful to someone else, or maybe even to yourself.
Oh, I do have to say that I don't agree with everybody's thoughts on there.
Yeah,
Like there are times where I definitely 100% don't agree, but that's how it is for a lot of things.
Right.
There's not one person that I'm like, yeah, I agree with every single thing you say. On a podcast especially, are you kidding? Like, we maybe take on about 60% on what they actually say, and for some reason we're entertained by it, so we keep tuning in.
Right.
There's an entertainment factor.
Right.
People bring on.
Yeah.
And I think I said, I guess I didn't mean to say like, oh, toxic is so used. I didn't want to be one of those guys that says, oh, everything is offensive, because that's not true.
Of course. Yeah.
There's a lot of bad jokes out there that people try to get off as borderline offensive, and it really is offensive, and it's not good at all.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a very good point. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. I'm also come clean. My video storage just ran out again, but it's okay. We're gonna run it. It's okay. I'm gonna just black out my side of the screen because we still got you running. But listen, man, thanks for joining me on this episode. We're going to try and keep these going as this quarantine persists. Let us know. Maybe any topics you want us to talk about. Do you want us to do more AMAs? Do you want us to maybe do advice episodes? Do our best to give advice to people. Let us know in the comments. If you're listening to this, on SoundCloud, hit us in the comments. If you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, you let us know in the comments. If you listen to us on Apple Music, please or Apple Music, the iTunes podcast app, we kindly ask to leave us a review and maybe even write a little note about what you like, what you don't like. We'd love that. And thanks a lot for listening. As always, this is Chris, aka not Chris, aka Bashman. I don't fight, I just get beat up, aka Little Pooper, aka Dr. Do Too Little, aka it's not me, it's not you. We're just going through a tough time right now. And as always, I'm here with Navik.
It's Navik, aka Navik, aka the Tamil Tyrese, aka Mr. Rock Bonnie Rose, on the way, aka Big Couch, Little Couch, aka Tiny Shirt, Big Pants. And this is
Episode 79. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.